Adrian, it's yours, man. It's your world. Whose world is this? Hey, man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us, man. Hit that like button, subscribe to the
Well,
page if you have not done so. Appreciate you guys tuning in for another episode of The Daily Show, man. We do this Monday through Friday, 11 to 12. Your boys got a start date for the new gig, so these may be pre-recorded in the future, which means we might see more of Ringo and Kid on there because, then the jobs don't come looking for you and all that stuff. So good to see you guys tuning in and rocking with us, man. Appreciate you guys for showing love every single day. Here's an interesting thing, right? As we continue, still talking Bears, but kind of talking more general NFL here. For the first time in a long time, the Chicago Bears not only are not the laughing stock of the league, but seem to have made every single correct decision this offseason, throughout the season, on GM, on coaching, on players. And I say that because the Bears go find Luke Getsy. The Packers are in shambles. And you absolutely could have went out and got Nathaniel Hackett, who technically was the OC, and he looks awful. He looks like he can't figure out how to get Russell Wilson an offense. And Russell Wilson is a Hall of Famer, more than likely.
Yep.
You've got the Colts, who just hired Jeff Saturday, who was on TV on Friday. And they were in a situation where you went out and you nabbed Matt Eberflus, who probably would have been next in line for a head coaching situation there. Does it speak something to you that seemingly from the top down, and again, this goes into stability, not just one season, not just the rest of the season, but for the future, that the Chicago Bears are moving into the right direction based on what we're seeing? Not just that we aren't the laughing stock, but that almost every move that we've made outside of Velus Jones has kind of worked out for the Chicago Bears this season.
So I'm gonna take this, and I'm gonna definitely say yeah, just because if you look at it, like I said, outside of Dayball and Eberflus, like the rest of the league isn't outside of Dayball, Eberflus, and Miami.
Mike McDaniel or Mike not Mike McDaniels. What is that boy name? The one
name.
You know who he's talking about. Head coach in Miami.
Yeah,
Keep it moving.
You know him. Anyway,
you know who he's talking about. Mike Jones? No.
Who? Nah. But outside of those three, everybody else looks like. The Colts already started firing people. Josh McDaniels probably won't have a job after this season.
His name is Mike McDaniel. I was right.
And
I was confused.
Yeah. Josh McDaniels probably won't have a job after this season.
Yeah.
And then even in Arizona with Cliff Kingsbury, like there's no stability there. So if you look at it, really, this is a W. They keep moving in the right direction. And shout out to Poles because he's looking at it like this is an offensive league. I have to put talent around my young QB.
Yeah.
And me personally, I think they're just gonna build the defense through the draft. And who am I to say that they won't? Who are we to say that they won't get it right? Right? Like you already got Gordon who's coming along. Brisker looks like he's coming along. Jalen Johnson made a heck of a play on that third down because Waddle had him smoked.
Oh, yeah,
and he came back and got that deflection. So if you look at it, everything points to like you basically gonna have the best GM and the best coach for really the next couple years. If you look at it, like nobody will refute that probably outside of the Giants.
The best thing Poles did was to get a coach with competency. Right? If you look at how we started the season, he didn't have a coach that buckled under pressure. He had a coach that had a game plan, a development plan in place, and they stuck to it. And they made adjustments to allow Justin the opportunity to make plays and things of that nature while still trying to implement certain things. It's okay for us to admit that the first couple games were a disaster. They were. But look how easily we've forgotten about that once we saw Justin making plays and stuff like that.
I mean, we won the first couple of games, so I don't know if I say they were a disaster. I think
they were a disaster from
Yeah,
execution standpoint. Like San Francisco was
the torrential downpour plays into that a little bit.
Yeah, but like we could go back on our very lives, and we live called some of those games, and the temperament was totally different. Now, even in a loss, I mean, hey, listen, when's the last time we had a team put 50 points on us? We was like, man, that's encouraging. Like it's the last time that's ever happened.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like,
no, I do. I said I felt better, and I said I felt better about the loss to Dallas, where it was 49-29, than I did about.
You did with that?
I felt better about the loss to Dallas than I felt about the win versus Houston.
Because of how it happened.
Yeah.
What we were able to see and stuff like that.
I guess.
But
I thought the win versus Houston was like a win is a win. Yes, I see some things that we're moving in the right direction, but we just almost got cooked by Houston.
A lot of that, you have to look at it like, hey, we have. If you don't think that has something to do with coaching and just allowing your players to come into their own and stuff like that, that's a skill. People management is a skill. People get hired and paid really big money from a people management perspective, and a head coach has to do all of that. So that's what I like. He's managed that situation to the point where now look at the conversation we're having. Mm-hmm. Pose recognizing making the change that he did, he could have just sat on those picks and built completely through the draft. He said, "No, I'm gonna give my QB a target. Use one of those picks. Didn't sit on his hands. Made a play, and guess what? It actually was a play that Pat himself called out. Was like, hey, this would be a really good move if he pulled it off. Boom, a week later, it's done. It's not even a week later. It's like
a week, a day. It was like 6 hours,
which means that was already happening. So that again, real football guy making real football decisions. That's the best thing that the Bears organization has ever done. Like." Yeah. So from that perspective, everything is trending in the right direction. Everything it's just night and day from what we were. We're talking about our defense. We're going to lose because our defense is subpar right now because we sold our defense the last time we did that. It's a full rebuild.
No, there was never a last time because it never happened.
We're in a full rebuild.
By the time we sold on our defense, it was too old to be good.
Somebody in the chat the other day was like, hey, I'm nearly 50 years old. I've never seen the Bears do a complete rebuild. And this feels like a complete rebuild. That goes to show you something.
And it will be.
I can't say that. They did a complete rebuild with Pace. It just didn't work.
Hey.
They did a complete rebuild. Like they tore it down. Like we sucked. We got top picks. We had the second pick in the draft, and we picked Mitch. So I mean, like, listen, that'll set your back a little while.
but again, like even from what the fans see, like Chicago is a really tough place to play. But if they see that you're trending in the right direction, Chicago will rock with you. Chicago is much like Philly in that regard. Yeah. They will rock with you till the wheels fall off until you start making dumb moves. And Post started off a little rocky, but there was a method to his madness. He stuck to his game plan. And now the whole city is rallying behind him because now we can see, all right, you believe in Justin. Look at what he's doing. You're getting him some targets. Look at what he's doing. We got all this money next season, and we got all these picks. All right, now we're in a position to actually be a contender in some way, shape, or form.
I think that's the part
he can do no wrong, realistically.
I was going to say real quick.
He hasn't done wrong. Let me say that.
How did he start off rocky to you?
I think that's the part that excites me, right? It's not that to me. It's not that he started off rocky. It's just that we didn't.
I was gonna say I don't think he has.
He didn't listen. We all sat here. And we were like, you didn't pick a receiver. You clearly need a receiver.
Hey,
you didn't pick a receiver.
The biggest mistake he made was not getting those. Because you got to think about it. He traded a second round pick to the team that he had the opportunity to get one of their best receivers, who was a second round pick.
Yeah. And rightfully so, right?
Like, shots at it.
You have to understand what the Chase Claypool trade is, right? The Chase Claypool trade is making up for the fact that Velus Jones right now is not good. I'm not saying he'll never be good. I'm not saying that he won't figure it out or something won't click inside of him. Like the video if you agree, right? But you make that trade because you didn't draft George Pickens.
And
That's
you should have
that,
got Pickens.
and you
Right.
thought that Velus Jones was going to be there. Now, what I will say is that, right, while we didn't agree with the moves that Poles did make,
Gordon came out to be a good
Gordon
pick.
looks like he can play football. Brisker absolutely looks like he's going to be a all-pro at some point.
I was good on Brisker.
Brisker, looking at how he's affecting Eddie Jackson standing next to him, has now turned Eddie Jackson back into the player that we hoped he was going to be here under Ryan Pace, right? So I think that the thing with Poles is, like, not that he got out to a rocky start, but it's the thing that gives me the most faith in the Bears moving forward, is that, which is crazy to say because I don't know if I've ever had just faith. Or maybe I've only moved off faith. Maybe that's really what it is. But that he made moves that we were like, hey, listen, it better work. And for the most part, those moves have worked.
The ones
For the
that
most
didn't, he
part,
moved off
a lot
quick.
of the acquisitions that he made worked. And now Lucas Patrick, I think, is a big miss at this point because he's just been injured all season. Poles can't control that, but
yeah,
that's one where, right, like that was supposed to be your starting center. Now we got Sam Musfer in there instead. I would rather have Lucas Patrick, whatever it is, but
he's cut his losses quickly.
And I think that's the thing, right? Like, we wanted immediate. I think more Bears fans than not wanted immediate results. To see, show me something that says that you were the right hire for Ryan from George McCaskey for the first time, and he didn't give us that. He said, "I've got a plan. I'm gonna follow my plan." Well, we don't like your plan. I really don't care. This is our plan. We're going to follow our plan. And now we're at week 8 of the season, right? Because remember, like with Ryan Pace, like the plan was 2-3 years. Like we're still in a rebuild here. The plan was 2-3 years. We're in week 8. We're in week 9 now, going into week 10. And we see that the plan, at least in this stage, is working. Now, here's the thing. He's still got to go out and make the right draft picks. He's still got to go out and find the right players. You still got to go out and pay the right players. You still got to go out and pay the offensive lineman to stand in front of Justin Fields and or draft them and make the right decision on that.
I
There's
really feel like he's
so
going to
much
trade
for
a
him
lot
to
of those
do.
picks. I really feel like those picks are trade capital for us to get some other play. I really do. Like the NFL was being like a lot like the NBA in that sense, that people are willing to deal talent more now than they were in years past.
The teams that you see do that already have the young talent that they don't have to pay yet. That's why you build through the draft, because the salary cap ain't big enough for you to just pay everybody.
Oh, for sure.
Big as it is, it ain't big enough for you to be like, let's go buy a defense and an offense. You gotta pick which side you're gonna draft.
You look at the rumor reel and some of those things that really grew legs and had some real traction to it. There's some teams that are really looking to do some big moves and sell off some pieces. We are in a position to make some moves for those pieces, and that's a big thing for me.
Yeah.
You know, when we get rid of Mac, we pretty much get rid of our defense.
You got rid of your defense.
Which we knew was going to happen.
I mean, legit. No Akeem Hicks, no Khalil Mack, Robert Quinn's gone, Roquan Smith is gone.
All the good players that we had.
So everybody. I mean, really. I mean, who am I missing? Somebody else is gone. Oh well, no, we kept Vildor. Duke Shelley's gone,
but look at the amount of picks
your whole defense is gone. Yeah,
we have 9. We still have 9 to 10 picks, and we got $134 million.
Yep.
I know that we keep overstating that, and I don't want to overstate it, but like that's a really big deal when we already feel like we're getting some real traction with the team that we have. We can now do what the Bengals did and get an O-line for Justin if that's what it comes to. We still got a pick in the first round, and we're projected to pick an offensive lineman. And multiple. I did my research. We got multiple draft boards have us picking that kid from Northern, which I hope we do.
It was just funny that he was the one you doubled down on when you did, having never seen nothing about him.
I watched a little tape on him. I'm not going to sit there and make it seem like I'm a savant with college football. I am not. Here's the one thing that makes sense. We have a need. This kid seems to be the best in the draft at what that need is. He fits that mold. You draft that guy. If that guy doesn't work out, at least I can say as a fan, you drafted the best opportunity. You drafted the best guy to give us an opportunity to win. I'm not going to fault you for that.
But again, right? I think that's the thing, right? And that's the part where this part is not over with at all. Like Ryan
For
Poles,
sure.
halfway through the season, I love what we've seen from him. I love what we've seen from the Bears. I love Flus. I feel like the Bears are really in a good direction. I feel like they're moving in the right direction with the hires they've made, with the pieces they put in place. We've seen development. We've seen growth out of this team. We've seen those young pieces grow. But here's the thing, right? Like, I'm sure Jacksonville was saying a lot of those same things. But maybe not actually. Last season was weird for Jacksonville because they had what's his name out there at the club. So maybe not. I'm sure Jacksonville was saying. I'm sure Jacksonville was coming into this season saying we spent all this money, we went out and got these weapons. This is our time to see the development from our young QB. This is the time to see our growth in Trevor Lawrence. This is the time that we're going to see the Jacksonville Jaguars start to make plays. And they haven't. We saw one game. Jacksonville is legit had one game where I looked at them and I was like, that looks like a good football team.
Stability.
Nah, they got
and not having stability with that coach.
I say they had about 3 games that they could have won. I mean, there's talent there, but I think with them the problem is just like, bro, the GM. Like you can't tell me you had bread and settled on Christian Kirk. Like I still can't. Like
stability and the key
but the thing
position
is,
of coaching matters.
Christian Kirk was the best
He's
wide
best
receiver
available.
on the market,
bro.
At the time, he's the best available.
And with that, like you didn't even need like you could have. There was so many other things, bro. Like they could have waited, just because you already had the defensive. They already have a defense.
Yeah,
they could have just went. They could have just went out and just went straight O-line like the Bengals did.
And that's the one thing.
Like, nah, Christian Kirk is definitely a number one.
But that's the problem. They tried to copy what the Bengals did. They tried to copy what the Bengals did, and instead of going, they got a couple O linemen, but they tried to copy what the Bengals did and go with a top wide receiver first, instead of giving Trevor Lawrence time to make decisions in what is also a new offense, what is also a new OC, what is also a new head coach in year 2 of the league. He's going through the same things Justin Fields is going through right now, but they spent money. They spent their money. They spent their
money wrong.
Now here's the thing.
Wrong. That's why I say Ryan Poles got a long way to go.
That's all that is.
People are going to kill the QB for that. And look at what you just said. Look at all the stuff that's changing.
Oh yeah, no. I'm not killing Trevor.
And Trevor's actually having a decent season compared to his first season. Like, he's having a better season so far than he did last season. Last season he led. He had more INTs than TDs. That's a totally different thing now. Despite the fact that now when he plays bad, he plays bad. I was big on Trevor. I thought Trevor was the best QB in the draft.
I think Trevor's really good. I just think, like I said, they went the wrong way. Like, he's a franchise QB. I seriously think he's a franchise QB, but they definitely went the wrong way with that opportunity that they had with the money. You got to try to do something different.
Trevor's going to give you 38 to 4,000 yards this season with over 20 TDs. And then as a second-year QB, you can't tell me that's not good.
No, it is.
It is what it is.
The
Jaguars, organization just sucks.
The Jaguars legitimately just, and that's why I say with Poles, like, this is the easy part. Trading for Chase Claypool is the easy part. Trading away Robert Quinn, trading away Roquan Smith, and it may not seem easy. That's the easy part. You know what the thing is, like what we said with the Bulls, right? When the Bulls were going through their rebuild or retool or whatever they was calling it. I'm fine with you moving on from these pieces. But how do you replace them?
Yeah, you better be right.
You better be right. I'm fine with it. I believe in you. Guess what? I believed in Ryan Pace the same way. I'm fine with you making these decisions, but you better be right. Guess what? You picking. You want to say he had the balls to do it. He picked Mitch. The dude over there beat Alabama in the national title game like a month before. You better be right. And he wasn't right. And guess what? When you're wrong at that degree, you don't have a job as a GM no more. Now it's on Ryan Poles to come in and say, hey, listen, I've made these decisions. I've made these moves. We're going offense over defense. I think we got the right coach in the building. I think that we've got the right OC in the building. Now I have to go out here and make these draft picks. Now I have to go out here and sign these players to accentuate what we have on the field already. And I like that we're at week 9. And it feels like that he's kind of done that already. That's what gives me a little bit of hope. But then again, right, like you drafted Velus Jones in the 3rd round, and there's definitely better players that went after him. So like you muted yourself, kid.
He has some misses. And I think the one thing about it is, and this is kind of like relating it to the Bulls that I'm wearing. You know, just because you've had success in the past doesn't mean that you can walk into this organization, everything you touch turns to gold.
Yeah.
And so now, hey, you chose Patrick Williams at 4. You better be right.
You better be right.
And maybe he is, maybe he ain't. Cool. But how do you pivot from it? And I think, you know, using that as an analogy, he's had success in the rest of the draft that we can sit there and be like, all right, you missed here, but look at what else we got.
And you've made up for it. Yeah,
you made up for it.
And I
look
think
at what you brought to the team. Look at what you've done. Now we are a more competitive team. So now it's like, hey, no, there's no perfect GM. There's no perfect GM.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, my last point on that, like, I don't even think, like with that money and what you were saying earlier, kid, about like there's some disgruntled wide receivers that you could put next to Darnell Mooney and Chase Claypool. I mean, you talk about, I mean, D Hop was in the mix late. That they talking about trading him. Arizona's there.
You need for that.
Brandon Cooks was just trying to leave. You know, that's a 1,000-yard receiver wherever he goes.
Yeah.
So I mean, like you got the money.
At one point.
This like Ryan Paul, like the Bears are about to be on the map next season.
Oh, we're on the
map. Like
for sure.
Once this hits, like and he gets everybody in the room, everybody's gonna be lined up at the door. Hey, I'm trying to play with Justin. I'm trying to get with this running game, and then so on and so forth. If you build it, they will come. Like,
okay, all right. Hey, we got our Field of Dreams references out here.
Come on now.
Hey man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, man. Let's close out with this real quick, man. Just a quick topic, because we've talked about Bears all day, right? But we got.